Hello everybody, my name is Hocus and welcome back to the RambleSMP server. This is Season 2, episode number 12. I do hope that you're having a fantastic day and an awesome week so far and that you are ready for some more Minecraft goodness. Because I am about to provide that for you in just a few, but before we jump into anything too strenuous, if you missed the last episode, this is what we were up to. Now, what exactly is this, you might say? Well, this is a gunpowder slash string farm, mainly produced for the gunpowder because my good neighbor Endavar, the one who builds all of the fancy airships, him and I have entered a small business agreement in which I will provide gunpowder, he will provide sugarcane, and together we will craft so many rockets, sell so many rockets, and make so many diamonds. On a more sour note, between episodes, I registered my first death on the RambleSMP server. You can see at the bottom of the screen, I'm now down to 6 levels. I think I was somewhere in the mid-40s. Unfortunately, like I say, first death occurred. I didn't get any footage of it, however, so I have no real record of it happening, so we could just forget about it, or I guess I could give you a quick description of the events that took place. Between episodes, I was able to finally build an AFK spot for the creeper farm, and I was using said AFK spot before deciding it was time to come down and check out how much gunpowder had accumulated in the farm. And whilst doing so, I failed to angle my flight path, slow myself down, and the impact of a collision with the side of the farm resulted in my experience and my items being flung out into the ocean and the very first notch being recorded on an otherwise clean slate of 0 deaths. However, to contrast with the bad news, we also have some pretty good news. Once again, if you weren't with me for the last episode, you might not be aware that Amradorn and I set up a trade. I gave him all of the yellow wool that we had, and in return, he gave me 6 golden apples and 6 splash potions of weakness. One of each of those is missing, and you would be correct in assuming that yes, Jimothy is healed. He no longer suffers from that long-term ailment that turned him into a little bit of a monster, made him hostile towards his friends, and ultimately made him a bit of a sour person to be around. But now Jimothy has been revitalized, and understandably, he has gone and got himself a job. He is a fisherman, but I have grander plans for you, Jimothy. Fisherman is probably not going to be your ultimate career path, but have fun in the meantime before we decide exactly what we're going to do with you. And at some point, you will become an integral part of Station Alpha. Another tragic event in the most recent episode was the destruction of our helmet, and our boots are also on their way out, so there's probably only one good thing for it, and that is a trip to the Enderman farm. Fortunately, our wonderful neighbor, as mentioned previously, Endavar, has been kind enough to link us up to the nether tunnels that can take you all the way over to the stronghold and make for a speedy shortcut. All right, here we are. Let's get some levels. As always, when I use the Enderman farm, thank you very much, BW. I appreciate it. Now time to craft a new helmet and a new pair of boots. So what I'm going to do is enchant the helmet, enchant the boots, and I will just combine the boots with our old ones. Whoops, forgot to get lapis. That should do. Let's see what we can get. Helmet, fire protection, boots, protection 3. Ooh. No, probably not going to keep that. Let's try again. Boots, unbreaking 3. Helmet, unbreaking 3. Let's try the boots. Blast protection and unbreaking. Combined with protection 3. Possibly? Okay, yep, I'll take that. That is fine. More lapis. Now let's try again with the helmet. Protection 3, unbreaking 3. Let's do one more. I think we could maybe go a little bit better than that. Let's try one more time. That's a little bit worse. Oh well. No! Jimothy! No! What did you do to him? How could you do this to Jimothy? And how did you do this to Jimothy? Jimothy... How? Oh my gosh. Golden apple wasted. Potion of weakness? Is it? Potion of weakness? Yeah. Potion of weakness wasted, and Jimothy is green again. Well, Jimothy, you can stay green because it must have been your fault. You stood too close to the fence. So I'm thinking for the main project in today's episode, I'd like to build a bamboo farm. First of all, just to get rid of this small bamboo forest that I've got going on. It was always supposed to be temporary. And secondly, to start fueling my experience farm over here at the cactus farm, which is a little bit of a mouthful, but I'm sure that if you guys have seen the majority of episodes in this series, then you'll know what I'm talking about. I figure, why not build the bamboo farm right where the temporary bamboo farm already was? There's enough space here, just beside the cactus farm, and I think it'll be a good fit. So let's walk through the basics of this farm together, because it really is quite simple. So first of all, we'll have a bank of observers to check for bamboo growth, and there will be 9 of those in total on each side. That'll look something like that. And now the observers need to be powering something, and what they will be powering is a bank of pistons that will sit just below. And again, this will be on both sides of the farm. And then to power the pistons, we'll just have a very, very straightforward line of redstone, looking something like this. And need I say it again, that will be on both sides of the farm. Then we'll see if we can give this thing a test run. The bamboo will simply be planted in the space between both banks of pistons and observers. And once it grows to the correct height, we get something like that. So obviously there is still a lot of work to be done here at the bamboo farm. So why not jump into another time lapse? So another really simple build, nothing too magnificent going on here at all. Figure it might be nice to have a little path going around the outside of the bamboo farm, just so that we can have a meaningful way to walk around the outside. And in the end, I did decide to go for a minecart collection system. We didn't really discuss that beforehand, but that seems like the simplest way for us to collect our drops from the farm. However, we still do need to funnel the items out of the farm and collect them in a central location. So in fact, this path here may need to move again, because the idea I have is to connect all of the hoppers on the inside to a chain of hoppers that drops down the outside of the build here. And once the hoppers reach a certain level underground that is sufficient, we'll have a dropper system that shoots them into a water stream, and eventually I want them to head in this direction and over towards the collection system for the fuel slot inside of the bamboo experience farm. I've exposed both hoppers in the upper levels of the farm, and of course there will be one more which is beneath ground, which we will work on in just a moment. But before we do that, we're going to need a big pillar and a huge chain of hoppers leading down into the ground, and we'll connect up to both of the hoppers that are protruding from the farm itself, just like so. Alright, cool. Everything should be linked up. Even the bottom collection system is now going into the loop. So I'm feeding everything down into this dropper here. And unfortunately, something a little bit worrying is that there are no items in the dropper. So we're going to have to check things in just a second to make sure that everything is okay. But for now, I'm going to try my hardest to build something that I haven't built in a long time. And that is an observer clock to force the dropper to run continuously. And I think I've already messed it up. It should go out a little bit further than it does. That should be more like it. So it should go into redstone, repeater into block. Block gives redstone signal to piston, which pushes observer, which should be facing that way. That is correct. Into this observer, which is facing this block. So anytime an item enters the dropper, they are continually spat out. So that's a nice little tip for you guys. If two observers are facing each other and directly connected, so when this observer gets pushed into this space here, the observers will just continually fire over and over again, and that is what is causing the dropper to continuously dispense items. I always make this mistake when working with hoppers. If they receive a redstone signal, the hopper is locked, and that was the issue. The hopper underneath this block here, which is powered by the lever, was locked and wasn't allowing items through, and that was happening at all levels of the farm, so nothing was getting into the chain here. But that is now fixed. The hoppers are going to come out the front side instead, and it's a change that was a little bit of a pain in the butt, but is definitely worth doing. So what are we up to next? Next, we want to be digging a little tunnel towards 487-183, I want to say. And I'm reading off coordinates there, but trying my best to remember them from just a second ago. Now, if my memory doesn't fail me, we should dig up and see the sky. Yes, perfect. So block off the redstone in order to prevent the water from leaking over there. Change out the flooring for stone brick so that if I do come across this whilst digging, I know that it's probably something important. First water bucket there, and maybe just close up that slot just in case. And then as the path progresses, we'll just want to add some packed ice, some fence gates, and more buckets of water. And ultimately, all of the items are going to lead into a bubble column, which will take them up towards the surface. Nice, the bubble column is in place, but that will also need somewhere to continue its route. And what I'm going to do is just take the items directly into the farm through the side of it here. So there's a little entrance that leads towards the hopper that these items must end up in. And I was quite impressed with how the trapdoors worked over here. So I'm going to go with that design again. Chuck in a little bit of deep slate and some sand, and then connect it up with a few more trapdoors like so. And then how are we going to do this part right here? We might want to go with a temporary block there. Trapdoor. Trapdoor. Oh, wait, no, that isn't going to work, is it? Because this redstone here is going to trigger the trapdoor every now and again. And one more trapdoor right there should do the trick. Now we just need a little bit of water to flow towards the inside here. All right, nice. So the bamboo is now flowing into the system. The only thing that I can see us maybe adding here is a little bit of overflow, because the bamboo is going to continuously flow into the farm here and is going to be deposited into the furnaces. So eventually everything's going to get full and there will be a huge backlog. So what we might want to do is just add a little hopper under there somewhere that leads down into a small bank of chests somewhere around here. And that will mean that those chests have to fill up first before the items continue flowing into the farm. Or we could just add a simple redstone mechanism to turn the hopper on and off, and that means that the items will flow at our discretion. Seeing as we've now added the bamboo farm into the mix, let's flick the XP farm to XP mode Not that it will make much difference anyway at the moment, because if we take a look at the storage, we are pretty much jam-packed full of items, so I don't know if any dye will even be able to make it through the system. Well, that was all I really had planned for this episode, but considering we're only around the 15-minute mark, we should probably try to do a little bit more, take us up to the usual 20 minutes or so that we make the episodes last until. So what I'm thinking is, we began with a little bit of terraforming in the way of moss blocks a few episodes ago, and I think it'd be nice to continue that theme and see where it takes us, because I did like what was going on. It looks pretty good where we've used it, so I'd like to see how things continue to develop if we continue using the moss blocks around the base. So we'll chuck our first one in right here by the water column that brings the bamboo to the XP farm, and we are just gonna grow and grow and grow and grow. You know what? This feels like such a cheap way to terraform / add natural beauty to your world. But doesn't it ever look so good? These azalea trees grow so well. Look at this one arching over the path. That just looks beautiful. And I figured that what we could try do is maybe hang some lanterns from these trees somewhere. Unfortunately, they don't actually go on leaf blocks, which is a little bit of a shame. But maybe we could figure something else out. I also wanted to make this change here. You probably saw during the time lapse, there was one small area around the tube here that just wouldn't adapt to the moss, and I think that's just because there is a block on this grass technically, so it won't change to moss. But that is easily fixed by just manually placing some down. So yes, like I say, looks really, really nice, especially in larger areas like this where the building is set back from the path a little bit. It really just fixes that empty space that you have between farm and path. Aha! So I did just have another quick thought about what we might want to do with the lanterns, and it's something that I've been preaching a lot in a recent short that I made about path building, and it's the use of fences. So fences, you can just pop them down and then maybe plonk some lanterns on top of them, and it usually looks pretty good. We might want to mix it up occasionally and perhaps have one that kind of comes around the corner here. And you don't always need to have lanterns either. You can pick and choose when to have them. So maybe we'll not quite like that. Maybe we'll have one right here on the corner just to sit next to the farm. Actually, you know what? That's a bad space, isn't it? Because there is already a lantern up there. So we probably don't need one there. Yeah, you know what? This actually does work quite well, having a few fences alongside the pathways, and every now and again just adding a lantern for some lighting, so once it reaches nighttime, it'll look pretty cool around here. And once 1.18 drops and mobs can only spawn at light level 0, I think that these lanterns will do a great job of just making this area safer overall. We will be wrapping up shortly here, but one more thing I wanted to check is the shop. I haven't looked in here in a while, so let's see if we've made any sales. Okay, we've sold some cactus. That's nice. Let's take the diamonds. We've sold our last gravel. I don't think I've restocked andesite. Oh, nice. 6 diamonds in the wool chest. Now, have we sold any honey blocks yet? That is the big question. Yes, we've sold 6. Nice. And I think now that our farm's much more efficient, I might change the price on these and maybe give a little bit more honey for the cost. So I've decided to change the price to 16 honey blocks for a diamond. That means you can get a total of 64 for 4 diamonds, which is a much fairer trade. And now that I've got the means to provide them in larger quantities, I feel like it's the right thing to do. Outside of the shop, I also want to make like a little stack of honey blocks so that people know that we've got them here in stock. I think that might be a pretty cool idea. So something like that will do. Nothing too major, just a little honey block statue to signify that we're selling them. Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this episode of Season 2 of RambleSMP. I hope you had a great time watching today, and once again, as always, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to come to my channel and view my content. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to drop a comment down below if you've got any questions, suggestions, comments, or feedback. I like to hear from you. I love to read them and I love to respond, so please make sure to do that. As well as that, also drop a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you're new and would like to stay tuned to more of this type of content. Anyway guys, like I say, that is going to be all from me for this one, so take care. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.